What if the scariest part of Halloween isn't what's outside your door, but what's inside your home? Tonight, I'm sharing a true horror story that will make you question every object you thought was harmless. This isn't about monsters or ghosts lurking in the dark. It's about a single Halloween mask that refused to stay still. You think a mask is just fabric and plastic? Think again, because this one didn't just sit on a shelf. It watched, it whispered, it haunted. And by the end of this story, you'll never look at your Halloween decorations the same way again. Michael was a collector. Not just any collector, he was obsessed with Halloween masks. For 15 years, he had built one of the most impressive private collections in the Midwest. Latex monsters, classic horror faces, handmade vintage designs from the 60s and 70s. Each one had a story. But there was one that didn't belong. It came from an obscure online auction. No description, no provenance, no seller photo, beyond a single dimly lit image. A pale, stretched face with hollow eyes and a slit of a mouth frozen in a silent scream. The listing simply read, "The Midnight Specter." Michael thought the name was theatrical, maybe even gimmicky. He bid anyway, $162. And he won. When the package arrived, something felt off immediately. The box was damp, the tape barely held it shut. Inside, wrapped in old newspaper, and what looked like dried straw, was the mask. Its surface was cold to the touch, colder than the air around it. And for a brief second, as he lifted it out, Michael swore he felt the faintest vibration in his fingertips, like something alive was breathing beneath the latex. He laughed it off. Collectors get weird stuff all the time. But that first night, while photographing the mask for his catalog, the lights in his studio flickered. Not once, 3 times. And his camera, brand new, refused to focus on the mask's eyes. Every shot came out blurred right where its gaze should have been. He uploaded the photos anyway, joking in the caption, "Guess this one doesn't like the spotlight." Within hours, his post went viral among his collector friends. The comments were playful at first, until someone wrote, "You bought that mask? It's from the Sanderson estate, the one that burned down in '78. Another added, "That thing was found in the ashes. They said it screamed when the fire reached it." Michael didn't believe in urban legends, but over the next few nights, the house began to feel wrong. The air turned heavy near his display room. A cold draft lingered, even when windows were closed. And sometimes, just before he turned off the lights, he thought he heard faint whispers coming from that room, like a conversation half submerged underwater. He blamed exhaustion. Long work hours, too much caffeine. But one night, while editing photos in the dark, he saw something move behind him, reflected in the glass of his computer screen. A pale face, hollow eyes. He spun around. Nothing there. The mask sat motionless on the shelf, but its angle had changed. It was no longer facing forward. It was facing him. Sleep didn't come easy after that. When he did drift off, he dreamed of being suffocated, smothered by a faceless figure that pressed against his skin until he couldn't breathe. Every time he woke up, the mask seemed closer to his bed, first across the room, then on the dresser. Then, one morning, resting on the nightstand right beside his pillow, he tried to rationalize it. Maybe he moved it while half asleep. Maybe his mind was playing tricks on him. But when he tried to lock it away in the attic, he heard scratching coming from inside the box, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging along wood. By the end of the week, his cat refused to enter the display room. It would hiss, arch its back, and stare at the shelf with the mask. One morning, he found deep claw marks etched into the floorboards beneath it, marks his cat couldn't possibly have made. Michael's friends began to notice the change in him. He looked pale, gaunt. His hands trembled when he spoke. He told them the truth, that something was wrong with the mask. They laughed, thought it was just Halloween nerves. So he decided to prove it. He recorded a video. He set up his camera overnight, aimed directly at the mask. At 3:13 a.m., the footage caught a faint movement, the mask's mouth twitching, just lightly, as if whispering something. Then the camera went black. When he checked the file the next morning, the audio was corrupted. But one phrase could still be heard through the static. Don't ... take ... me ... He tried to burn it that night, but every time he struck a match, it went out. Even the lighter refused to spark. The room grew colder, the shadows deeper, and just before he gave up, he saw it, the reflection in the window. The mask wasn't on the table anymore. It was behind him. Michael screamed. The next thing he remembered was waking up on the floor, the mask lying inches from his face. It was warm now, and there was something dark, sticky, smeared across its mouth. Blood. His own. Panicking, he called a local paranormal investigator named Dana Cross, known for her work with haunted artifacts. When she arrived, she refused to touch the mask. She said the energy around it was wrong, like standing next to a live wire humming beneath the skin. After researching, she uncovered the mask's origin. It was created by a cult costume maker in the late 1960s named Harold Sanderson, who believed he could trap human souls in latex by performing rituals during a lunar eclipse. When Sanderson's workshop caught fire in 1978, he was found burned alive. His face fused one of his own creations. That mask was called the Midnight Specter. Despite believing them to be superstitions, Dana tried a cleansing ritual that night. Salt, candles, chants. The mask reacted violently. The flames bent sideways, as if being pushed by unseen hands. A loud bang shook the walls, and the mask tumbled from the table, crashing against the ceiling before falling to the floor. The smell of burning rubber filled the air. Then silence. They thought it was over, until Michael looked down. The mask had changed. Its expression wasn't a scream anymore. It was a smile. Dana ordered him to seal it in a lead-lined case and bury it away from the house. He did. But that night he woke up to the sound of knocking. 3 knocks at his bedroom door. When he opened it, nothing. Just a faint trail of damp straw leading down the hallway. Michael moved out a week later. He sold the house, the collection, everything, except one thing. The night before the movers came, the mask reappeared, resting neatly on his bed, as if waiting for him to return. He never spoke about what happened after that. But his friends say he stopped answering calls, stopped posting online. And months later, when a neighbor checked on him, the house was empty. All that remained was a single box in the attic. Inside, the mask. Cold. Waiting. So tell me, what if the scariest part of Halloween isn't what's outside your door, but what's already inside your home? Maybe, just maybe, something in your collection is watching you right now. If you've ever owned an object that felt wrong, one that made your skin crawl or moved when it shouldn't have, tell your story in the comments. Because the Midnight Specter might not be the only mask out there, and some faces never stop watching.